Johnson didn't. He said, why not? Turiaf, tough move, and Austin Crozier fouls him.
What he said it's better to have that as instead of the alternative, instead of losing possibly 70. He said he likes to position his teams in, and it's also the mindset that they try to bring every night. It's not about how many games they win. It's more about the way they attack and play each and every night. And that guy right there, Dirk Nowitzki, has obviously had a huge impact in terms of how he plays the game and really redefined himself, and ultimately has helped to redefine who the Dallas Mavericks are as a basketball team.
And Greg Avery, I thought, had a great term. He said fluctuation in energy. That's what he doesn't want to see any part of. And when you start trying to tinker with resting guys and changing your rotation because you're starting to think about being healthy and rested when the playoffs start, I think that's when you start to have a little bit of problems mentally, particularly when this team is still, he wants them to be hungry. They have not won a championship. They have not reached their ultimate goal. Obviously, they look like they're well on their way this year to doing that.
Stackhouse tries to throw it in the middle. Turiaf got a hand on it. Smush Parker tries a bounce pass for Turiaf. Ball is thrown ahead to Stackhouse, but not before the foul. We talked about 70 wins. The Chicago Bulls, Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen did it in 95 and 96. That was also an expansion year. Vancouver and Toronto came into the league that year, so that probably didn't hurt.
Yeah, I was in Vancouver, so we definitely attributed to a couple of those wins.
I actually think Toronto handed them one of those losses.
They may have. But, and even with that great Bulls team, the difference being, and Timmy, you made the point, they had already won championships. So they already knew that they were, in essence, playing for the postseason, which was even more impressive. And Phil Jackson had talked about in the pregame meetings about how, his owner had sent him a note saying that, it's not as important to win the 70 as it is to win the World Championship. And remember, that was also a note being sent to a guy that already had won 3.
Yeah, when you've already won it, it's a little bit easier to think about doing something historical as opposed to when you haven't won a championship yet. That's really what your primary focus will continue to be.
Oh, Harris just creating in midair. Stackhouse from the outside knocks down the 3.
And that's the spacing we talk about. They always have 2 guys behind the three-point line, and you've always got at least 2 other guys that can put the ball on the floor and attack every gap that you have defensively. That versatility is what makes them so difficult to defend.
Kwame Brown gets fouled. Stackhouse 5 of 7 from the field, 11 points already.
And this opportunity really all created by penetration, and Jerry Stackhouse just finds the seam and makes himself available so that penetration can find him on the perimeter.
Again, you go and you look at Dirk Nowitzki, encouraging his teammates. But the other thing about, again, with Dallas is they have so many quality possessions. And I think that's one thing that really creates so many problems for you. They don't turn the basketball over a lot, only 2 so far in this basketball game. They get good shots typically every possession down. And more importantly, they get the shots they want as opposed to what the defense dictates to them. And that's one reason why they've had such great success thus far this season.
Dampier has come back into the game. His shot goes to the bench. Remember, Dampier has 2 fouls on him. Crozier's shot outside off the hands of Dampier and out of bounds.
Yeah, they really play similarly to Phoenix in the half court. The difference, though, is that Dallas has more guys, actually, that can attack you themselves off the dribble. Phoenix really has to rely on Nash to do that, but they always have guys spaced out. They run a ton of pick and roll and just play basketball and make smart decisions. That's exactly the way the Phoenix Suns play in the half court.
Vujicic's shot is off the mark. Stackhouse to Howard. Howard lines up a 3.
And the other thing about this team is they just right now are just on a roll offensively. They're a great offensive rebounding team. So, you add the offensive balance and the overall versatility and then the dominance on the interior. And right now, Phil Jackson and the Lakers are searching for an answer.
Well, the run is 25-5. And Howard, this shot was so pure, the twine didn't even move. Dallas on the way. Welcome back to Los Angeles, where the Lakers have fallen behind by 13 points, and Jerry Stackhouse has 11 points coming off the bench. He's
just done a great job. And really, as a scorer, he finds ways to get himself to his sweet spots. He had a beautiful little runner off the glass to knock that down, and then he takes advantage, gets out in transition early here. We know about his ability to finish, and then doing the defense, playing a passing lane, getting out early, and then getting that another transition opportunity. Stackhouse, instant offense off that bench. 11 of his team's 15 bench points thus far in this game.
Well, he's probably fired up that his North Carolina Tar Heels won their first ACC tournament since '98. Dampier walked with the ball before he tossed it off.
Devin Harris that time put Dampier in a tough spot. He's trailing the play, and you don't want to give your 7-footer the ball dead run at about the top of the key. It's exactly what happened to Eric Dampier that time. Not used to handling the ball in that situation.
Technical on Smush Parker. He's tossed out of the game. That's his second technical.
Frustrated right now. He feels like he got his arm jerked on the offensive end of the floor that led to that last turnover, but he's had a couple of unforced errors prior to that. So I think more than anything, that's just a frustration play right there by Smush Parker.
Yeah, that's unacceptable. You've already picked up one technical foul. Your team is already hurting in terms of the injuries, and you can ill afford to go out and allow a frustration play to take you out of the basketball game. And you know, you play 7 minutes as a starting guard for your team when you're already hurting. That is unacceptable by Smush Parker.
Or maybe it's his birthday tonight. You know, he might have to get there.
He might be partying by himself.
The rookie Farmar comes in. Rookie out of UCLA. McKee. The Farmar drives, pulls up. Floater won't go. Kwame Brown with the follow. And Jim, what's up with Smush Parker? What's with the attitude tonight?
Well, John, that's the problem. It's not just tonight. He's beginning to have an attitude problem. About 10 days ago, the Phoenix game, he was pulled out of the game. During the game by Phil Jackson, he had words with Phil. Phil was very upset with him, sat him down at the end of the bench. He did not get up off the end of the bench for the remainder of that game. He sat there through timeouts, and we're talking about Smush Parker here. We're not talking about one of the great NBA players, with all due respect. After the game, Phil went to him and said, you know, it was incumbent for me to go clear this up now. I usually don't like to do this after a game, but that was the type of blow-up that it was. And what we're seeing out of Smush Parker isn't very good, particularly when you consider that this guy came here as a role player, has got the starting position, and now is becoming an attitude problem.
Well, that won't last long in Phil Jackson's locker room. Josh Howard out of the corner, no good. Farmar with the rebound. Cook.
You know, it's funny. You can see it on this last possession here, just the indecisiveness of the LA Lakers offensively, because they got so many guys now that are asked to do things that they really aren't comfortable doing. And I tell you, when you don't know the triangle offense, it is difficult to be effective as a basketball player out on the floor, and you can see how tentative and lacking in confidence they are as a group.
What's interesting is watching Dallas play defensively. You can see how much preparation they put into defending the triangle. It's almost like they're beating the Lakers to every spot because they know where they're headed before they get there. And almost like they're telling the Lakers, hey, man, you're supposed to be over here. And they're able to read these passing lanes. And LA really struggling right now to run their offense the way they want to.
Making them work on every possession. There was one on the shot clock when Kobe launched that. 3-second call. Again, want to remind everybody, NBA TV on Monday. Houston against Phoenix. That's at 9 o'clock Eastern time. TNT on Thursday. Miami at New Jersey. The Lakers at Denver. Coverage beginning at 8 Eastern time. Then ABC next Sunday. Dallas at Detroit at 3 o'clock Eastern time.
That could be a preview of the finals. Don't we have a game next Sunday?
Yes, we do. Oh, Kwame Brown goes in, and Harris, much smaller guy, denies him.
And that's, again, one of those plays, Tim, you talk about instincts. I mean, you're Kwame Brown, you're a 7-footer going in against the center. You don't allow him to make a play on that ball. You should put him in the rim. He should be going up with both hands for the dunk and then get the foul. And again, right now with the injuries, you can tell the confidence not quite there. And with a young basketball team, Timmy, it's so tough when you have these kinds of injuries because you don't get to make the growth. I mean, there's a lot of optimism coming into this season, and it started off great, but then the injuries kind of derailed it.
Well, young players get comfortable when they have a specified role that they can kind of find early in the year, whether that be 15 minutes, 12 minutes, or 30, whatever it may be. But all of a sudden you have these injuries in and out. Now your role has to change from night to night. You find guys out of their comfort zone, and that's what's going on right now with the Lakers with some of these younger guys forced to play big minutes for them.
Dampier puts it on the floor. Bad idea. Scramble for the ball.
But I'll give Kwame Brown one thing. He is playing extremely hard tonight. He's very active. He's trying to post up strong and aggressively. He's attacked the offensive board. There you see him get on the floor for a loose ball. So certainly, if things don't happen well for Kwame tonight, it's not because of lack of effort. He's giving everything he has out there on the court right now.
And that's